All right, this is a little project that we've been working on for a while. I feel like I've missed the boat on buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum. I did get a few at $25 a piece. And the only reason why I did okay with those is because I lost my private key and I couldn't sell them when my instincts would have otherwise said sell. So that is the only way I've ever succeeded in crypto. Other than that, I missed the boat. I'd like to tell this story that I had a chance to be the marketing director for Populous last year around this time, but they sold out before I had a chance to sign any paperwork or do anything like that. So there's no need for me because they sold out fairly quickly. So I feel like I've missed the boat, and I've been working on this project for a while. So this is my chance to get on the boat on this. This project started with IoT hardware about 3 or 4 years ago. Long story short, it's all about your data. So how many of you here make money or earn any sort of value from your data? All right, good job, 3 of you. The consensus here is that most people don't. And you've seen with Facebook and all the other sort of data breaches, Experian, and all that sort of stuff. If you're going to get hacked for your data, you could at least make it your own fault. So it's your data. Start acting like it. We want to make data behave more like a currency where you can earn it and spend it readily. In theory, it should be straightforward. We know we're early for this, so part of what we're trying to do now is alpha test it and get users. We're not focusing on some fancy tech that's distributed and has this ethos of distributing the world of data. Not that. We're actually testing it, trying to get users on board, making sure that we can build something that would work without the coin or the token. So that's what we're doing now. So Census is trying to make it so that you can earn from your data. It's all opt-in. So it starts with the user. There's you. Then there's your information, which a lot of people have, credit companies have, your banks have. Then there's your actions, what you do. Now that you walk and move around, people can track your accelerometer data. When you're driving, Google knows you're driving. Sometimes things run in the background that are tracking your information. You should probably check the permissions because there's quite a few apps that do certain things that ask for other permissions that they don't need that track your information, who make pretty decent money off of you not reading terms and conditions. Actually, there's a whole industry on not reading terms and conditions. You can make lots of money by putting stuff in there. And then the other thing is your devices, your TV, your phone, your connected devices, your car. So all these things all go back to you. So what we're trying to do is, with Census, is make one account where you can connect your various services to. And the way that we're thinking about this is that this is a modular process where you are at the center of the concept, and we want to add different modules based on different activities as we grow. So it starts with you and your data and ways to earn it. So it's one account for all your data. So right now with Census, there's a couple. Right now you can actually go online, download the app, Android, iOS, and download a basic version that allows you to take surveys and you earn points because these aren't tokens. It's the alpha pilot, and we want to make sure that it works with points. In the future, in jurisdictions where we can, we may, and again, allow users to purchase the tokens with points or exchange their points for tokens. In places where we can't, the points will continue to be used like a point system where you can exchange them for vouchers. But right now we're working on a couple of different pilots. So we have a telematics pilot, which tracks your driving data, your health and fitness one, so you can share your fitness, your movement, your data, a smart TV tracking where you can share what you're viewing, what you're watching. Also social check-ins, other things like watch videos and incentivize other bits of data that you're already doing. So for now, the way it works is, sorry, the formatting got a little funny, but what we start with is users who want to earn and then buyers who want the valuable data. So we're not just saying, hey, give us your data and here's some stuff for it. We're starting with the buyers. So for the telematics, the driving data, we're starting to work with insurance companies, making sure we have all the correct parameters for what makes a valuable data set for an insurance provider. With multiple insurers, because we want to make sure that the data is transferable. For televisions, we're working with advertisers. For market research, we have the surveys. You can actually incentivize people to move more, and that could be a government project. So there's different use cases, and that's why we treat the user at the center, and then there's modules that we're building, and we start with the buyers, because if we don't have all the correct data sets, we'll have to go back and add data, which makes it a big drop-off rate. So we want complete data from the beginning. Because this is fintech, I'm going to focus on a fintech-related example. So with telematics, the buyer on this side is insurance. So the way it works is you are the driver of the car. You have the data and you share the data, and then the insurers pay to view this data. So insurer A, B, or C, you can sell your data multiple times. They're actually paying to view your driving data without seeing you as a person. So if you're a great driver, you'll get good rates, and companies can compete for good driving profiles. If you're an awful driver and don't belong on the road, that's actually a pretty competitive market as well, because if nobody's going to insure you, one insurer could say, $3,500 a month, take it or leave it, we'll insure you for that much. So you can actually make a decent return on awful drivers, knowing that nobody else will insure them. So they pay once to see your data, and then they can pay again to make an offer. That means they can contact you with an offer on your data, and you're essentially getting paid twice for the data. And then you agree to go with one of them, and not only did you just earn tokens or points, depending on the jurisdiction, but you also got a tailored rate based on driving 100 miles or whatever the parameters are. So now insurance companies have your driving profile, and they can give you a quote accordingly. The way it happens now is certain insurers have their own black box programs, and in order to get into one of those programs, you have to go with one. What this does is it makes it so that the user is in charge, and you can choose multiple different services by doing it through software rather than hardware. Obviously, you can jump to a hardware program after, but this allows companies to sort people based on profile. So what we're doing now is we're focusing on getting, we have the functional app live. We have a couple hundred users. We're testing it. It's basic surveys. You can download it now at census.xyz. And then we're working on the units for telematics and also for TV, because we're focusing on the buy side. We're also, so what's going to trigger the crowd sale is once we get into the mid thousands, anywhere between 2,000 and 10,000 users, plus 1 or 2 pilots. So we're not going to do a big announcement and say that we're here live until we actually reach certain milestones. So if we don't reach those milestones until February 2011 and the market's moved on, that's our fault, because we didn't do what we needed to do. So we're not going to just do the token distribution without hitting milestones, because we feel that if we do this correctly and it works, we shouldn't need the token. We could offer alternative payments or other tokens or other methods of compensating people for it. We want to make sure that it works without the token. The token will make life a lot easier to distribute payments, to track micropayments, and to create an ecosystem. But we want to make sure that we have something that works in principle as a data exchange. There's a whole bunch of technical aspects of it that I won't discuss here, which are probably similar to decentralized storage of data, zero knowledge proofs in order to house other people's data. We're not going anywhere near that yet, because we're just trying to make sure that it works and we can get users, because if we can get 10, 20,000 users, we can pivot a number of different ways. If we lock ourselves on technology that's going to go in a number of different directions, then we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. So we're basing it on real tangible work. So some caveats is that users, we want to make it so that users can cash out via vouchers, mobile top-ups, and crypto. So we were just in Nigeria in May, and part of the beauty of this is that if you do this in developing countries, it's like Uber for your data. So if you're in the Philippines, Nigeria, and you earn $5 a month, that's actually not that bad considering a lot of people have smartphones and data. And if you can convert it to mobile top-ups, then you'll never have to pay for your minutes again. In the future, we envisage something like a Census branded Android phone that we can give away for free or cheap, where you're giving us 3 or 4 months worth of data, and then after that, you can earn on your own. Same thing with televisions. If we build the data into the television that allows you to track the viewing, you can get a subsidized television because you're sharing your data from the beginning. And after we get a certain amount of data value from it, you can earn for yourself. So we envision a place where you can get devices that come free or cheap because they're inherently sharing the data. But normally, you have to opt in every step of the way. You have to opt in to say, yes, I want to share my data. And then the buyers have to tell you all the parameters. Because I'm in the UK, where we have GDPR, and you have to basically signpost every single way the data is going to be used, and you have to be able to pull it. So once we get to full decentralized mode, it'll be the user. It's almost like your money, except it's your data. You'll be able to open and close that door. You'll be able to get yourselves out of different data sets as needed. So the alpha program is going to offer points, but like I said, we're going to convert them to crypto. The blockchain and the technical elements are being scoped, but that's not the purpose of what we're doing now. We're exploring the EOS platform for 2 reasons. One, because they have a boatload of cash and they're looking at different dApps. So we're looking at incorporating EOS into the stack because we think that if you have a choice between 2 and one has some support, it makes sense to go for the one that has a bit more support than paying for developers where you might not get the same funding. And then the other is we're currently raising around and exploring equity options, but also early token options. Right now, we're not doing anything with the tokens because we're putting together the legal structure. It's only equity financing, but the equity partners will get a percentage of the stake. So that's what we're up to. We're trying to decentralize data and make it so that anybody can do it. We want to make it so that you just tap a few buttons and share your data. And then to cash out, you can tap a few buttons and not even think about crypto because you can make sure you get vouchers. So when we promote it to college students, we could say, get a pair of Nikes for giving us 2 months worth of your movements. That makes sense because you're not touching crypto, and that's important. We want to make sure that we lower the barrier to entry, so where you're just clicking a few buttons to do the things that you already do, browsing the internet, watching television, driving, and then telling you when you can earn something tangible so that, if your grandmother gets it, it's a few buttons and then you get, a voucher for Safeway. That makes more sense than explaining the zero knowledge proof and how your data is secure and why it's decentralized and all that sort of stuff, because 90% of the people aren't going to get it, and we want to reach, a certain level of mass, and we're not going to do that talking about protocols, which you guys already know.
Thank you so much, Lewis.
Cool.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect.